In this video, I'm going to walk you through Lesson 8 of Unit 8.1 from Open SciEd. Okay, so in our last lesson, in Lesson 7, we ended by starting to think about the ideas of how energy is transferred. Where does that energy come from? Where does that energy go? And so this lesson is all about energy transfer in the CART system that we've been using to investigate. And so we start by coming in and we use this slide to navigate in, talking about some things we were considering about energy transfer, where energy comes from, where energy goes, and what questions did this raise for you? So this slide helps you kind of facilitate that navigation piece. And then we're going to develop initial explanations. And so let me open this handout for you. This is a pretty simple handout where they're just going to provide initial ideas. So I would not grade this. This is just trying to surface their prior knowledge. And we're going to answer questions about what did your group do to the launcher so that it could eventually transfer energy to the cart. So we're starting to get them to think about, oh, well, it came from the plunger. And what did your group do differently so that it could transfer more energy to the cart in conditions B or C? Oh, well, we pulled it back further. We had more newtons. What part of the subsystem directly transferred energy to the cart? Oh, the plunger hit the cart. And so all of these ideas are actually going to appear in the consensus discussion. So then we're going to come together into a scientist circle and we're going to create a model during a consensus discussion. The slide that will support you looks like this. You can see that this matches the handout that they will be using. They're going to use colored pencils to draw on the handout as you facilitate this consensus discussion. There's a lot of prompting questions and teacher guidance in the teacher edition. So take a look at that. This is one you're going to want to really plan for to make sure you get all the things you need on the model. And here is the handout that students will use. It looks just like the picture on the slide. And then this is your sample model that you will create. And let me open this up. Okay, so you will see that these sticky notes here, they're not going to start on here. You're going to create these sticky notes. If you go to the materials prep video, I talk a little bit more about that. But you're going to add all these blue sticky notes. You can use different colors for each different thing, but you're going to add them as you facilitate that consensus discussion. These blue arrows you can see over here, there's a key is energy transfer. The red is due to a contact force. And so those questions that they wrote some initial ideas about really come back here. That's how we transferred to the cart. That's where the energy came from, was this plunger. We are going to move into the idea of potential energy because that shape of that spring changes. And so we will introduce potential energy during this discussion. Then we are going to individually create free body diagrams. And here is the handout. And so students are going to draw and label two free body diagrams showing the contact forces between the box and the cart as they are moving together at time 4. So in the consensus discussion, we did up to time 3, but their handout has more time points. And so now they're going to do what we did in the consensus discussion individually on their own for time point 4. And then they're going to redraw in the space to the right your free body diagram for the box. And so showing additional forces as well. This is really going to bring us into the idea of air resistance and friction. There's an answer key here to support you in helping students complete that and giving them some guidance. This is also a formative assessment opportunity, but it leads into the idea of friction and air resistance, and we start to talk about that a little bit. And then there's a home learning. And so there's 2 different handouts, and students have a choice to either investigate surface interactions like friction or interactions with the air resistance. And so you give them 4 index cards and a rubber band, you send it home and they do this. Here's a slide to kind of help them make a choice. One uses a shoe. Anyways, the setup says you can make extra copies in case they want to investigate both, but you can also do this in class. It doesn't have to be home learning. Okay, let's talk about the materials prep in the next video.